What's up? What's up? Happy day 4 of my Fat Loss Over 40 series. Just to be clear, this is not just for women over 40. I'm using the number 40 because I just turned 40. My target market is generally women in the 30ish, 40ish, 50ish age range, dealing with the changes that come with hormones, but also just like lifestyle changes as we get older, right? So this is a Fat Loss Over 40 series, but it absolutely applies to women in their 30s as well. They're women, well, over 40, 50s, 60s as well, okay? So we're talking about mistakes, common mistakes that women over 40 or 35-ish make with fat loss, okay? Before we jump into today's 2 reminders, 1, go back and watch days 1 through 3. We talked about more things that are related to fat loss over 40. So go watch those. The replays are in the group. I'm also emailing them out every day. So if you are on my email list, you can also watch them there. Also, reminder that it is so easy to register for my 2-week free challenge that starts next week. We're doing a 2-week completely free challenge. I'm gonna provide you coaching, structure, accountability. You can get nutrition help, free workouts and programs to choose from, all of the structure and accountability you need to put the things we're talking about into place and have that structure and support to get started on your fat loss goals, whether you're already in a fat loss phase and you just need a little oomph, or you need a jump start to fat loss, or even if you just want accountability around fitness and nutrition in general right now, and you're not necessarily aiming for, focusing on fat loss, that's all right too. The challenge is completely free. There's literally no reason not to join. You get a taste of my app and what's in there as well, because I'm loading everybody into my training app. So you get to kind of explore that and see what that's about. Join our community. We have a whole group of women that are going to be, that are already in my program that you get to have as your support, but also people that are joining this challenge. So it's going to be amazing and you should definitely join. The link to join is going to be in the comments. So make sure that you sign up for that. It's going to start Sunday with a kickoff call. So you can join me live. And my clients, and we'll do a kickoff call for this 2-week challenge, and I'll lay out exactly what we need to do, and we'll utilize this Facebook group as well for accountability. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So make sure that you are signed up for that. If you are tired of just like trying harder and feel like you're just spinning your wheels and not seeing results, this challenge is going to help be your reset button. It is May. A lot of us want to feel better and feel differently going into the summer. So you're going to get that structured plan, nutrition, support, and coaching. Sign up now. All right. Okay. Mistakes that women make when it comes to fat loss. These are our, let me see, how many do I have? 6. I don't like that number 6. It's not round. It needs to be like 5 or even 7. Oh, well, it's 6. The first one, yo-yo dieting and not understanding metabolic adaptation. So if you've spent literal years kind of jumping around from diet to diet, and every time you're not on a diet, your nutrition is very unstructured and it's kind of all over the place, then your metabolism, you might think that it's broken, it's ruined, it's messed up, whatever. It's not, but it is very likely adapted to what you've been putting it through. It's not broken, but it very well may be slower, okay? Chronically undereating and then going in between chronically undereating and then overdoing it, but not eating enough protein in those overdoing it times is going to lead to that metabolic adaptation. It's going to lead to likely muscle loss, lower maintenance calories overall. The fix is not another diet, but focusing on increasing your calories with intention, focus on eating more closer to maintenance for periods of time, focusing on making sure that your protein is high at those times, and focusing on building muscle and strength. I have had plenty of clients, plenty of clients over the years who have come from this. They'll say like, oh, well, I really need to lose fat and I want to diet. And I'm like, but you've been bouncing all the time. They're like, yeah, but when I'm not on a diet, I'm eating a lot of calories. Like there's no reason I should be metabolically adapted because I went on a diet, yeah, and I was eating 1,200 calories, but then I went off of it and I was probably eating like 2,000 or 3,000 calories. It doesn't matter because you've never spent time actually monitoring what maintenance calories could look like. And a lot of the times, one, either the person is correct and they're not necessarily metabolically downregulated, but when they were off of the diet and not eating 1,200 calories, 12,000, 1,200. When they were not eating 1,200 calories, They were eating like a lot of food than they weren't aware of, but the calories were way higher than they even thought. It was probably like 3,000 or 4,000 calories a day. And so even eating at maintenance, quote unquote, they think, because they're used to tracking their intake at such an extreme deficit, that tracking their intake at 2,000-ish calories feels scary. But in reality, you're still in a deficit from where you were when you've been totally off track. Not to mention, we're gonna make sure that your protein's really, really high while we're tracking at that high amount. And what happens most of the time is that these women build muscle, lose body fat, and feel better even not tracking at 1,200 calories. So it's not that you always need to be in this diet, but this back and forth yo-yoing all the time is ultimately kind of setting you up for failure, all right? The second mistake that women tend to make is cardio obsession and not strength training properly. Now, even if you know this isn't you, that's one thing. But if you think this might not be you because you strength train and you understand, but when you do lose fat, you're still like kind of prioritizing cardio. Or another common thing I'll see is women who are training, they're strength training, but then as soon as they want to lose fat or they feel like they're not seeing the progress fast enough, what they tend to do is go, I don't really have enough time to do my full strength training workout, so I'm just not going to do it and do cardio instead. Or they will cut down on the strength training purposefully in order to find more room for cardio. There's still like their subconscious is still saying, we need more cardio, we need more cardio. And that's not the case. And a lot of times in these people too, they're not strength training properly to begin with. So we're lifting weights, but we're not really lifting with the kind of intensity that I want to see you lifting with anyway, let alone when we're focusing on fat loss and trying to maintain muscle, right? So cardio is great. I am definitely not in the like anti-cardio camp. Cardio is important. Cardio is wonderful, but it cannot be your main tool that you're using to see fat loss after 40 because it's just not going to work in the way you think it's going to, all right? By the way, sidebar, if you're watching live, please say hello. Please comment below, say hello, let me know you're here. If you're watching the replay, just comment below replay, let me know you're here. Also, let me know, are you in for the challenge? Did you sign up already? Are you excited? Tell me all the things. All right, so back to this cardio obsession without really focusing on strength training. The reality is most women don't lift heavy enough anyway to preserve muscle, let alone build it. All right, there have been studies done on this, that women strength training, regardless of fat loss or whatever, do not lift nearly close enough to what they can actually handle. And if you are not pushing yourself enough, you are going to struggle to preserve that lean muscle that you want to preserve, and you're going to struggle to see that boost in metabolism that strength training gives you. If you are not sure if this is you or not, then it's you. I'm telling you, if you're not sure, then it's you. I, again, have had so many clients in the past, I would say a large majority of the time, who come to me hesitant because they're already strength training and they're not, and they've already seen results, but then they've kind of stalled. They're not really sure if I can help them. Then once they start training properly and I start actually pushing them in ways that they are not used to being pushed, they're mind blown. Like, I never realized that I was standing in my own way. And now that we've gotten over that hump, their progress is phenomenal. Squatting more than they ever thought they would, totally comfortably, mobile, losing body fat, building muscle, getting that higher boost in metabolism. And so, yeah, it is super common. You really, really need progressive overload, not necessarily just like endless reps with light weight. You really need progressive overload. And that is something a lot of women just aren't doing properly. This challenge, like I said, I'm going to give you programs that have progressive overload built into them. You can go through all of them. I can tell you which one to do if you're on the fence. I have beginner programs and more advanced, all of it in there. So we can get you really started on a good plan, because you want something that's smart. You don't want to have to figure it out on your own. Let me do the work for you, right? Third mistake that women tend to make is really hyper-focusing on calories and not hyper-focusing on protein. You might have heard calories are king. I disagree. I used to say that also. I've changed my stance. Protein is king, all right? And we'll say protein is queen, okay. Calories are important, don't get me wrong, but they don't tell the whole story. And this is a whole other thing. Calories matter, okay? But protein quality, protein quantity matter more. You can eat higher calories and see better progress if a greater proportion of those calories comes from protein then if you lower the protein and lower the calories, you will literally see better results eating more, even in a fat loss phase. This is something I've been doing, and one of the reasons that I think my fat loss phase has been like the best fat loss phase I've had in years right now at 40 years old that I'm in is because I usually operate in a calories are king mode and making sure that I keep my calories where they need to be. But when I keep them in a general range, but allow myself to eat as much as I want of protein when necessary, or when I'm hungry or when I'm craving it, I'm literally having better results even if I'm not always meeting my calories. So there are days where I'm aiming for like 1,500 calories, but if I'm hungry, I eat. And I just make sure I'm eating pretty much only protein. And my calories might go up to 17, 18. One day it was even 1,900 calories, which is a lot over my cutting calories. But it was such a high proportion of protein that my body processed it totally differently. And I'm still able to consistently see results. And so protein is really where most women need to be putting most of their focus in. Calories secondary. This is going to help you preserve muscle. This is going to help fight hunger and cravings. This is going to help with your muscle, maintaining muscle. This is going to, I already said that. This is going to help with the thermic effect. So like how many calories your body is burning like in digestion alone, right? And again, in this free 2-week challenge, I'm going to show you kind of how to prioritize protein without necessarily having to obsess over like every single macro, okay? Number 4 mistake that women make is starving all week and overeating on the weekends. So I'll say like Monday through Friday at 4 p.m., you're on it. And then the weekends come and you're totally off it. You're eating clean and low calorie all week, and then you just lose control on the weekends. And that cycle is wrecking your consistency. It's wrecking your energy, and it's wrecking your results, and it's wrecking your mindset because you're not able to just get back on track properly. Fat loss is going to come from weekly consistency, not this like daily perfection. And part of that is being too perfect during the week. Saying no to everything puts you in a position where by Friday, your willpower is exhausted and you can't say no to things anymore. So creating more balance throughout the week is going to help. But also I'll tell people who have this problem, like start tracking only on the weekends. I mean, if we need to flip it, you're tracking excellently Monday through Friday, but then the weekends are shit show. Stop tracking Monday through Friday. Just eat the things you normally eat, relax a little bit, and save all of your tracking energy for the weekend. And let's see what you're really doing, right? Let's see what's actually going on. So, I mean, just imagining budgeting Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends being like, F it, I'm not going to budget. I'm not going to put in any of these numbers, and I'm not going to abide by any of the things I said. I'm just going to like go to coffee shops and go to the mall and do all these things. And then on Monday, you're frustrated that you don't have any money in your account, right? It's like, and you're doing this all of the time. It's the same thing. So that huge like issue there, right? Number 5 mistake that women tend to make is constantly chasing those like short-term scale drops and not looking at the whole picture. So yes, the scale matters, but it doesn't tell the whole story, right? We know that, especially if we're building and maintaining muscle. And this is going to depend, like right now where I am, the scale is telling me a story because I'm not really building muscle right now, right? So I need to see scale drops. But if you're coming from a place where you've never actually really spent time really truly like training properly, then the scale could not move at all and your entire physique could change. You could drop body fat, gain muscle, and look exactly how you want to look without ever dropping a pound on the scale. Okay, so depending on where you're at, the scale can tell a very different story, but chasing and hyper focusing on those scale drops is really like a huge mistake women tend to make, instead of focusing on the big picture, which is like getting stronger, building muscle and losing fat, clothes fitting better, having more energy, all of these things. So that's something that we're going to talk about in the challenge as well, is the balance between these two things, but also holding you accountable. If you are in a position where you need to see those scale drops, like how can we do that while also being able to keep the big picture in mind, right? And number 6, the 6th common mistake that I see women making is not lifting heavy enough, right? Because we already talked about that. You're not lifting heavy enough, but also not recovering properly. So women are training, and they might not really be training super smartly, but they're doing it a lot because they still have that mindset of like going. So maybe you're going to like boot camp classes and spin classes and all of these things. So you're pushing, but you're really just pushing in a way that just makes yourself tired. I talked about this the other day. It makes yourself tired and it makes yourself feel like you got a good workout, but it actually was not super optimal. And then you're not recovering properly. So you're not sleeping well, you're not eating well, you're trying to eat like rabbit food, right? Not feeding your muscles. You're chronically stressed because you're just making yourself tired all of the time without giving yourself time to recover and not forcing those adaptations. You've got stuff going on at work and maybe kids and spouse and a house to take care of. So we've got kind of like that chronic stress on our bodies. And all of that combined is going to lead to feeling like you're spinning your wheels, right? So when we're 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond, we really need to prioritize being smarter about our intensity, smarter about our training, and very serious and much smarter about our recovery and everything else that we're doing. Because I say when you're in the gym, you're not actually building muscle. When you're in the gym, you're breaking down your muscle. So what do you need to do in the gym to make sure that you're breaking down that muscle? And what do you need to do after in order to make sure it rebuilds properly? Because you're not doing all of that in the gym. The gym is just where we kind of break it down and provide the stimulus. It's after that we actually respond to the stimulus and build the muscle. And what are we doing in that time frame? And if you're not giving yourself what your body needs in order to do that, then you're going to be spinning your wheels, right? So again, plug for the 2-week challenge. There are amazing programs in there, and I have one in particular that I'm thinking of that is short and effective and is going to take you from constantly go to knowing that you're training smarter and not continuously spinning your wheels wondering if you're doing the right thing, okay? So if you saw yourself in any of these mistakes, I do not want you to feel bad at all. Guilt is not welcome here, okay? Most women have been taught the wrong approach for decades. I'm not immune to it. I still have the voices. I still tend to find myself drifting down these lanes, right? So it is normal. It's just what it is, right? But it's time to unlearn it. It's time to build new neural pathways around these things. It's time to rebuild and actually spend time doing what actually works, because that's what we want, right? So we're gonna do it together. Join the Jumpstart Challenge. It's totally free, no strings attached. Of course, I'm going to encourage you to stay in my small group coaching program because I think it is an amazing space. I have no doubt that you would make progress if you joined us and committed to the process. So I'm going to do that, but there is no pressure. There's no credit card required. I'm just going to pull you in for free, provide that structure and accountability, and it will be up to you what you do with that at that point. All right. So real coaching, real structure, a real person. I'm not a bot. If you know, you know. You don't need to do this alone. All right. I've got the community for you, and yeah, let's do it. All right. Thank you so much for watching. I don't have anything else to say other than I really hope to see you at the challenge. And I'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we're talking about, I always try to tell you guys, but then I always forget. I don't remember. Because today was supposed to be mistakes. Oh, consistency. Tomorrow we're going to talk about consistency. Okay, so I know all these things. How do I make sure that I can stick with it? Why haven't you stuck with it in the past? Why haven't you? And I know what you're going to say. I already know what you're going to say. You're going to say, I'm a black and white person. I'm either go hard or nothing at all. And I can't seem to break that pattern. I'm telling you right now, you're wrong. You're wrong about yourself. And I'm going to tell you why I'm pretty certain that you're wrong about that tomorrow, because we're going to talk about consistency and how to finally break that cycle and actually obtain true consistency. All right, chat then. Bye, guys.